some people were saying, man, Keys, I thought you was all about spreading black excellence. No, I've never been about that. And matter of fact, let me say this. If it has seemed like I've been about that, I apologize. Because I look at everything as a means to an end. How do we navigate the world to get to power, to have the leverage, to do the spook thing that we really want to do, right? It's like my affinity for teaching about technology, blockchain, things of that nature, was always under the guise of, can we get ahead utilizing existing technologies to build our own parallel worlds and systems? Most people who criticize things don't understand them as deeply as I do, and they don't have a depth of knowledge on these subjects, right? So sometimes I'm jumping in things so deeply optimistic about this is what could happen if we get ahead of them, but we always late, so therefore it's not usually any power in it. There's a reason why I've had the #1 show, right? Been a #1 thought leader in the culture, at least by my metrics. Yet I haven't gotten any recognition or any celebration or any rewards from any of the boule outlets that represent so-called black excellence. I haven't been rewarded not one black excellence token of appreciation by the black community. It's because they know I represent black power. It's really that simple and quite frank, right? It makes no sense, but they understand that this is a conversation. I'm somebody that will not be controlled. I believe in the sovereignty of our people, right? I believe in our own economics. I believe in building our own parallel systems. And now those people believe in me because they have no other choice, because this administration has made it so hard that they won't be able to get paid, right, from their wealthy donors, because essentially he made it illegal. And activism has become a career choice, right? The boule-isms are now uncomfortable and they fear losing their money and they fear losing their power. And when they start losing their money and their power, that's when they put on their blackness. Blackness is for them is a mask that they can wear so they can be a part of the collective family, even though they play for a different team, right? As we move throughout these spaces, I've always been the one behind the scenes, advising, trying to get people to work together for the collective good. But I promise you that most people behind the scenes, 99% of them are just black capitalists. Don't want to do anything at all, which is why most people are afraid to empower individuals such as myself. Because they like, wait a minute, if you can do that by yourself, what would you do with the right resources? You would shift things up so much that it will force us to be uncomfortable and have to do the same thing and get behind you. So black excellence has always been a scam, right? We may celebrate an individual because of their success. It's the same thing if you look at somebody in your family. Blood makes your family, right? In this diaspora, melanin makes us family. But doesn't make us part of the same team because we don't have the same vision, the same values, same ideas about collective progress and or sovereignty. Right? When we talk about artificial intelligence, it's not so that we can go invest in their machines. It's so that we can have an understanding, we can have mastery, ownership, and control because the technology owns to know it. When we look at blockchain, I say it is the dream of the radical revolutionary. The problem is most people just don't understand it enough. Most people consider themselves to be revolutionary and radical and sovereign thinking, don't understand decentralization enough to pick it up and teach our people. And so anybody that teaches it, they say, you going with that world order. No, I'm trying to build our own world order. So then when you come from a place of a lack of resources and you try to participate in any endeavors of capitalism and make you some money, right, and learn the skill sets that the market rewards and you get you some money, right, people will then punish you for that as well, for your success and your failures. But how can you go to war? How can you build your own without resources? Especially being of a generation who's seen it fail over and over. I grew up in the midst of black power in Oakland, California. And I'm not talking about the Black Panthers. I grew up in an environment where men really had power. I seen it with my own eyes. I experienced it. I was a part of it. So to me, it was never about the past. It was my present. It was my upbringing. And my whole goal was trying to figure out how do we duplicate, replicate, but then do it with the wisdom in it and learn from the lessons of what made it fall and fail in the first place. So yes, we participate in entrepreneurship and business. We learn how to market, we learn how to brand. Sometimes we do things right, sometimes I do things wrong. See, the Panthers, what the Panthers had, Jim, and it's funny because I went to go visit Frederica Newton in Oakland, California at the Black Panther Museum. The Black Panthers, they organized with their women. And it was a different time in community, right? The black women were all about the black family and the black power movement during that time. Of course, the FBI destroyed all of that. But at that time, they had over 63 programs. And these were community organized programs at a time where black excellence did not take over the airwaves, so people understood that the only progress was power. Now, theirs was depth into a political philosophy that most black people just don't believe in today. Matter of fact, Huey P. Newton is barely celebrated. He was throwing on shirts or tokens of, different toys and trinkets and, but he's not celebrated in the same midst that a Martin Luther King is. Or Malcolm X. But why not? He produced so many programs, and he had wealthy donors. He had the community that did it, that would put money into a system over and over and over. But now we think everything is a scam, so what black man can do anything besides go through the route of capitalism successfully, get enough resources, and then do the right thing. That's the route that they're trying to force people, or we could collaborate and cooperate amongst each other. But the problem is that they successfully destroyed the trust that we have within each other. So the quantum leap that we could have will just be creating council memberships and saying, well, let's all work together. And I know y'all be like, Keith, but you know everybody. But niggas don't want to work together. I'm going to be honest. You can't find me a single person that you consider to be a friend of mine, a peer resource that I know that I haven't pitched these ideas to. Like, it ain't nobody. It's just people don't believe in the collectivism because we've seen things fail so many times that people don't believe in black power. That's just the reality of it. And black power, mostly because people don't understand it. It's hard to not believe in it when the whole reality of it is that we're supposed to be focused on collective ownership and progress, so we can't be hit so hard when these things that happen in the media and the news, they shouldn't be affecting us as much. But, again, as somebody who's been doing this by my own resource, literally, we've been self-funding everything, bootstrapping it from the ground. This is what I consider to be grassroots in a lot of ways. It's just my interpretation of it. Because nobody has assisted it thus far. Now, I believe that the resources are here, they're coming, and it's just about now probably the way that we organize it. And I'm always looking for more resources. I'm always looking to learn more and get more knowledge so that I can do things better and better and better. The one thing that I learned, though, is that people will rather criticize than help you construct anything. People will watch you but won't help you. So therefore it becomes this thing where a lot of us become jaded by the time we end up getting into position, and people stop believing in it completely, and then they grow into this pessimism about the reality of what can be done. And I get it, because some of it is steeped in the actual experience, right? And a lot of us are just not grabbing that nuts and having your power and saying, let's go do it, because most people are fearing the future. Well, this happened and that happened and that happened, so they don't see themselves as warriors. But then I tell them all the time, I say, well, what about your children? You don't have any power, so you can't guarantee their future. You can't guarantee their safety. You can't guarantee no money. You can't guarantee nothing. The biggest risk is taking no risk at this point. We need to be utilizing every single effort. That's why we do things, and then we settle, and then all of us, we all have our own individual survivalist things that we need to do. Usually when one person rises, they taking care of so many other people, which deplete their resources, so they never actually have as much, because the family don't work as a team, and it's usually one member of the team taking care of the family. So there's so many different things that you're dealing with, especially as first generational wealth builders, curse breakers. We should be second, third, fourth generation into these things, building on top of, not always starting. We shouldn't be like, well, do it like Huey did, do it like Fred did. Like, damn, we starting over again. Obviously it was hard for them. It's definitely gonna be hard for us. We now live in a more complex world. We have more resources, but the fertility of the mind of the people is not the same. We have more ethnicities as well. People have more ways of thinking, right? And people are more individualist than ever before. So you get into this mode of thinking, okay, well, what's the best way for me to do? Let me try to just build it myself. And then you realize how hard that route is, and it's not that it's impossible, it's that you're going against a timetable. As you're building, somebody else is destroying. Then you're dealing with the complexities of changing in an advanced world, technologically advanced world. Then you're getting new enemies, and it's not even just humans, but machines.